your brethren and say, look, man, Hidden Truth is blowing up right now. You need to stop what you're doing and get back involved. Get reunited with who you are. So brothers and sisters, there's over 232 of us on the laptops. I don't know how much that would be with the brothers and sisters on your mobile phones, on your iPads, but you make sure that note goes out. Brothers and sisters, tonight, we've got a brother from the United States of America. Jeez! He's been on the show before, but it's over a year ago. We've been discussing the other scene. We needed to get this brother back. But brothers and sisters, for those of you that was with us on the Reverend Shot course last Wednesday, this brother touched the airwaves. Up to now, I can't sleep. I can't sleep. This brother, as soon as I said, no, Andrew, you are joking. You need to get this brother back onto Hidden Truth, quick time and in a hurry. This brother here, the way he dropped it, I said, no, brother. If you don't know this brother's Ron Spears, man. He's a Detroit-based spoken word artist, an entrepreneur, and a physicist. I mean, come on, man. This is the Imhotep today. He graduated from the Morehouse College, which I believe is where our great brother, Martin Luther King, graduated from, okay? He's got a degree in physics from the University of Wisconsin, Madison, where he received a master's degree. Come on, big brother. A master's degree in engineering. For over 25 years, this brother's been crisscrossing the country, brothers and sisters, and he's not been doing it for self. His life has also been dedicated to the transformation and the reunification of Black youth. And he's created one of the most phenomenal rites of passage courses in the United States. And brothers and sisters, I'm going to let him tell you what he's been doing with our youth, brothers and sisters. This brother is like, sure, I can't even give you what this brother's all about. So brothers and sisters, on the Hidden Truth platform, please drop some ones and make this brother welcomed from the United States of America, Brother Ron Spears. Ron, wagwan, master.
What's going on, Brother Muhammad? Always a blessing to be with you and our people. So good to see you. I appreciate the love and the energy. I can feel it all the way here in Detroit.
Brother, no word of a lie, brother, man. You're an amazing brother. It's not me just saying, as soon as I heard you talk last week, I was in your inbox straight away. Brother, drop that science on this program, man, because tonight is dedicated to the physicists, beloved, created to the science of revolution. And but before you go into that, brother, it may be a part of your presentation. If it is, then let me shut up, brother. But I like very briefly, brother, for you to touch on what you're doing with our youth and where you're taking the youth on their rites of passage, man, because this is amazing work you're doing in Detroit.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the opportunity. It was not part of our presentation, so I would love to share. We had an amazing summer this summer. We took 13 young men from Detroit to West Africa to a remote village that still practices traditional rites of passage manhood training rituals. And most of these young men were Eagle Scouts. And for those of you who don't know, they say Hidden Truth, Lord Baden-Powell of Europe got the concept of Boy Scouts from observing Africans doing rites of passage when he was in Africa on a military assignment. And you know how European, how white folks do. They copy, they claim it their own and rename it. And that's where you have Boy Scouts of America. But the true history of Boy Scouts is African rites of passage. And so we took boys from Detroit to West Africa, 13 young men. And then we, so the ritual was about 3 days in the bush. And I'll share more about that when I'm on your platform next month, but with some images and video that'll bring it home much better than words. But I do spoken word, I do a curriculum, all of that to empower our young men to be grown men and to understand the consciousness and the important role that they play in helping our culture. But today I'm going to focus on the science of revolution. I'm going to stay on task.
Brother, I'm gonna shut my mouth, my king, and I'm gonna offer you your chance now, brother, because I love what you drop, and I think that the Hidden Truth family are gonna absolutely fall in love with you again tonight, brother. I know it's been a year since you've been on this platform. You're representing the mighty city of Detroit, man. And I'm gonna shut up, brother. It's all yours, King. It's all yours. You can share your screen and educate us tonight, King.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, well, let me share screen real quick and talk a little bit about, so let me know when you can see.
Oh, wow, brother. You're with the king. You're with the king. We can
like
see
I said, it's been a wonderful summer. Before I took the young people to West Africa, I took myself to Kemet with the Hoppy group, and that included the great Dr. Leonard Jeffries. And so, you know, the whole trip to Kemet just really stuck with me. You know, you hear this phrase all the time: we are divine, having a human experience. But, you know, sometimes people get caught up in words, people get caught up in phrases, and they don't understand the science behind that. I'm gonna break a little bit of that down. And I have a book called Black Matter Lives. And it's just a blessing to see one of the greatest amongst us holding your book and being able to spend as much time as I spent with him in the motherland. And let me tell you, this brother is, I don't want to get it wrong. I think about 87 years old, and he was walking with us in the temples. Okay. So, you know, you gotta appreciate that. But anyway, as it relates to science, you know, when you look at the fall of Kemet, to the transatlantic slave trade, the civil rights movement, the aftermath of the murder of George Floyd here in the States, revolutions have started. And the main one that people know about by name is Black Lives Matter. And when you look at their website, one of the key goals on their website states, by combating and countering acts of violence, creating space for Black imagination and innovation, and centering Black joy, we are winning immediate improvements in our lives. Now, I don't have any problem with that. You know, Black lives do matter, but in the context of the science of revolution, that's not winning. That's not the revolution. Of course, Black lives matter, and we deserve a good quality of life independent of the validation or dependency on others. The journey to true revolution in our community requires a deeper blueprint to connect with the African sacred science of our ancestors and revolution, which I call Black Matter Lives. So I just changed the words around, because the source of our strength and resilience to endure colonization in Africa and slavery in America and the diaspora is the power of our melanin to convert our Black matter into the energy needed to achieve true revolution, or what I call right now Grand Rising, which is my new project, which we'll get into that a little bit later. But the difference between Black Lives Matter and Black Matter Lives can best be described as the elevation of classical physics to quantum physics. This blueprint for change uses the laws of physics and the power of the spoken word to activate our Black matter to transform our lives, which is an acronym. Let me get into this acronym here. So, you know, when people see my book, they see that it looks so much like the Black Lives Matter logo. They say Black Matter Lives. Like, no, that doesn't make sense. Black Matter Lives, I should say. That doesn't make sense. The word can be used two different ways. Brother Andrew Muhammad lives in the UK. Ron Spears, I live in the USA, in Detroit. So that's two different ways to pronounce the word. But you know what? I had to go one step further, and I had to use lives as an acronym. Okay, love increases the vibration to disrupt the epigenetic signal. That is a science of revolution, if you think about it. Now, let me break that down using the laws of physics. And the way I do that, and that's me and my live a little commercial for I have a show on Rev Shock's platform called The Metaphysicist and the Physicist, As Above, So Below. And Grand Rising is going to be a webinar series I'm going to do later in the year with Rev Shock. But, you know, when you think about we are divine, having a human experience, the model that I use is called the Sankofa model. And it all starts with self-knowledge. Now, we talked about Black matter lives. The first L is love. Love is a force, the strongest force in the universe when it's connected to the Black matter. Love as an emotion, we can be taken advantage of. I'm saying love as a force. Love starts with self. Self-knowledge is the foundation to begin to understand the power and science of love as a force rather than an emotion. Now, according to the laws of physics, it teaches us that an object at rest will remain at rest until an external force is acted upon it. That external, folks, family, is this vibration of love that we all have the ability to provide, and many of us need that vibration because we're stuck. Now, spirituality. Spirituality is the foundation to understand the power of Black matter, to transform love into a force, using our ancestors as a guide, since we and the stars and melanin all share the same elements: hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen. The laws of physics teach us that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It simply changes form. The force of love combined with the energy of our ancestors, past and present, is the science behind revolution. Love in the third dimensional plane is Black Lives Matter type of love. It's dependent on others, while love in the fourth dimension, which is the Black matter lives, is what increases your vibration, basically the energy needed to conduct a true revolution. Now, you see overcoming obstacles. Obstacles are put in our lives externally, such as colonization and slavery in the past, racism and white supremacy in the present, which manifest in our lives today. Internally, such as poverty, self-hate, education, addiction, fear, health, family, relationships, you name it. This is why I'm excited to hear about Sister Deborah and her mental health website and coaching services, because it's so needed. Okay, now back to the laws of physics. They teach us that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, which impedes our progress individually and collectively. Folk family, when you saw Will Smith slap Chris Rock and Denzel Washington told Will that at your highest moment, the devil comes for you, that's physics, since the concept of a devil doesn't exist. As you begin vibrating on a higher frequency, because now you got self-knowledge and you're flirting with spirituality of our African sacred science. You're not there yet, you're flirting with it. You're interested, it's got your attention. So does the obstacles designed to keep you down. That frequency vibrates at the same time that you're flirting with African sacred science. It's the science, it happens, and it keeps us from moving forward. Now, epigenetics teaches us that violent experiences from racism, generations in the past, can affect our genes through post-traumatic slave syndrome, affecting many of us to this present day. And that's why so many of us don't get a chance to get past those obstacles, to leverage this spirituality to overcome those obstacles. They end up canceling or balancing each other out. And many of us don't get a chance or an opportunity to transform. And you see Ma'at here, adding Ma'at into our daily lives and self-improvement, seeing the actual fruits of that labor, of this sacrifice, of this African sacred science. Self-improvement happens and sustains once we elevate to a higher consciousness in this fourth dimensional plane of Black matter lives. So the science behind revolution and the power of the spoken word. The laws of physics here teach us that energy is defined as the ability to do work. At this point, we are able to increase and sustain our quality of life because we're no longer opposed by the perpetual epigenetic signal or frequency of fear and intimidation of white supremacy. The science behind revolution begins with the mastery of self, right? So African sacred science teaches us that the black matter drives the energy of creation and manifestation to restore the quality of life and our divine human experience. When you're able to do really, really cool things like taking 13 young brothers from Detroit to West Africa, for those types of things don't happen normally. There's so much energy in place that made this trip happen that I can't take credit for, which lets you know that you are guided and on purpose. And that's just one example of a lot of the many things that's been going on in my life. You don't call them coincidences when they happen all the time, and you pretty much are guiding it using the power of your ancestors. Now, this last part here, what you see all called life skills, that's where our life individually and collectively as a greater community is improving. We're restoring the order and arrangement that our ancestors had. But there's a law of physics here as well. In all energy exchanges, if no energy enters or leaves the system, the potential energy of the state will always be less than that of the initial state. Now, let me break that down for you. This middle part, spirituality, obstacles, and then self-improvement, that's the as above, so below. But the left on the self-knowledge and the life skills on the right, sometimes when things are so bad and you realize there's so much working against us, you might think that you're better off just sitting it out and just not doing anything. If I don't do anything, just go on living my life and pretend like this little thing called racism and white supremacy doesn't exist, or I can't do anything about it. You think that at least my life can't get worse. You can. The law of the science proves that you can. Okay, so if 2 steps forward, 1 step back, just frustrates you to the point where you just say, you know what, I'm done. I'm just gonna go to work, punch the clock, and hope that whatever happens, happens. That's going to take your life backwards. So grand rising of a higher consciousness and unity is the outcome of Black Matter Lives, the science behind revolution through a distinct and collective vibration to unite Africa and the diaspora. Ashe. Ashe is the divine force and energy and power of the world. Ashe is the power behind all things in the universe. It enables people to find balance in life. So, well, Black Matter Lives is my contribution to this, to this energy, and Grand Rising is the project that I'm working on now through a webinar initially, but it's also going to be a workbook, kind of to help folks teach change and start to do a lot of this. First of all, you have to get over a lot of the self things that we're dealing with, and then we got to start doing it for others, because that's how you elevate, increase your vibration. That's how you're going to disrupt the epigenetic signal, by love and service to others. So family, my time is up. I love you. Better yet, we love you from the US, and we love the energy of Brother Andrew Muhammad and the Hidden Truth as we prepare for the collective vibration of love, scientifically, not emotionally. So I look forward to our speaker today, Dr. Mark Richards, connecting many more dots to the science behind revolution, with a special and personal love for the science of physics. So,
wow, brothers and sisters. Look, Samira's even put a camera on. Oh, wow, brother. And brother, you cheated yourself. You still had another 5, 7, 8 minutes, brother.
all right, well, what you want to talk about?
You tell us, brother, man, because look, people are dropping ones. People are dropping ones, brother. If you can come off share screen, brother.
Yeah, the one of the things that I wanted to share also is obviously being in Kemet with Dr. Leonard Jeffries is to say it's off the chain is one thing, but you know, they were on a platform, and I'm gonna share one more time real quick because let me see.
You got 5 minutes, brother.
All right. So this is kind of the website here. And this is me on Rev Shock's platform, me with Professor Kaba, me on Andrew, The Hidden Truth a year ago, and Dr. Tata. But down here, you know, when you have your book is on the coffee table of Leonard and Rosalind Jeffries, you know, you know, Black Lives Matter. I said, yeah, we don't need validation. But you know what? I got a lot of validation when
Then we had Black Lives Matter, Ron Spears. When I was coming back on the plane, I spent the whole time talking to him. Chock full of, in fact, coming back on the plane, that was discussion that I had with Ron Spears, you know, about how that period of Blacks in the Bible and how it fits in with meta lecture to understand certain passages.
I can't
Oh,
how
wow.
that was. You know,
Oh, wow.
next to Leonard and Rosalind Jeffries from Egypt, and
Oh,
just
wow.
having a discussion with the Queen Mother, Dr. Rosalind Jeffries. So
Yes.
these types of things don't happen by coincidence.
No, no.
They don't happen by coincidence. And when you get signs from the universe that you're operating on purpose, you just expect them, and it manifests in your life in a real way. And so, you know, science is that's what makes it science. It can be proven. It's a process, but the obstacles are part of the process.
Yes.
And that's where people get caught up.
Beautiful. So, brother, just before you go, brother, because I mean, you was clinical today, brother. Clinical for the revolutionaries, for the grassroots, brothers, brother. For those who are listening on this platform at this stage, listening to you, brother. How does science marry up with the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, for example? How does it marry up with Black redemption? How does science, especially physics, how can it aid us in our journey of self-discovery and emancipation, brother?
You know, I think Kaba has attacked that question the best in his description of his book Spirituality Before Religions, where I hope I don't get it wrong, where he says, you know, spirituality is unseen science and science is seen spirituality.
Woo!
You know, and that right there is you know, something that really hits you, because a lot of times, you know, we a lot of times science and religion, they stay out of the same bed, right? Because we're just supposed to believe that the world flooded. We're just supposed to believe that Adam and Eve took a bite of it. We're just supposed to believe things, right? But things can be proven. And when you look at, and I'll show this kind of next month, when you look at what's coming out of these James Webb Telescope images, right? And man, I have one of them too. I don't know if I have time to show it, but it shows the goddess Nut. When you look at these images that's coming out of deep space in crystal clear 8K vision, it looks just like the wall and the ceilings in Kemet when I was in the temples, down to the color. Okay. And when you see the goddess Nut, okay, in the blue with the brown, these are starting. When I told you we are made up of the same elements, carbon, nitrogen, you know, oxygen, hydrogen, it's just lets you know that we are divine, having a human experience. And like you always say, brother Andrew, whether you are a fan of the Matrix, where you see basically the equal and opposite reaction, Neo, they didn't come for Neo until he started increasing his vibration and understanding who he was. Same thing in Star Wars, the dark side. You don't get the dark side until you start elevating it, learning the Force, right? they play with us so much in these movies and TV shows, but science is what really wins at the end of the day, right? And so I'm everybody is not blessed to be able to have degrees in physics or chemistry or engineering, things like that. But I mean, you have an appreciation. I was blessed to be taught at a Black college with Black professors, one who was conscious and taught me on my first day of quantum physics at Morehouse. The professor said, you know how when you get in a room full of Black people, the temperature seems to rise up a bit?
Yes.
Let me break it down on the chalkboard. He's talked about the melanin and energy, and it hits our skin and it provides it. I was like, bruh, I was like, whatever. I was 19 or 20 years old getting this type of knowledge. And then another professor I had, and this is where we get into the fourth dimension. I had a class at Morehouse in the fourth dimension, okay, where the laws of physics or the mathematics has to change because now you're traveling faster than the speed of light. So that's the black matter lives phase. When you're traveling faster than the speed of light, the math changes. And that's why we had to take a class called mathematical physics to learn these new equations in order to take the class I took in the fourth dimension. So when you get deeper into the science of it, just things start really coming to you in your dream state, in your meditations, in your sleeping. It just really starts to come because you can connect dots a little bit better. You know, when you get off the freeway and you tap on your brakes at the intersection, you just hope and pray that the car is going to stop, because if not, you're dead. Okay, that's if you don't have the science background, you have to hope and have faith that the brakes are going to work. Well, you know what? Those of us that are deep into the science, we go a little bit deeper so that we're not just believing things. So the science behind revolution, you just kind of have to dig a little bit deeper, and man, it is a beautiful thing.
I could tell you're great inspired, brother. Before you go, our time is up, but before you go, brother, please, I mean, everyone is just saying so inspirational. And I knew that this was going to be the response with you on tonight, brother. That's why I wanted you on the show tonight before Dr. Mark. And then hopefully, as we said before, November, we're looking for you to be a keynote speaker and just drop some science on us, brother. But brother, before you go, can you just give us a spoken word piece? I know you haven't prepared. I know I didn't ask you in advance, but have you got a spoken word piece that you could just share with us before you go, my king?
Sure. You got to have your signature piece
Please.
in hand. So this one I just kind of call my aunt, although I say she. She inspires me to live life to the fullest. She never lets things get me down. I put my trust in her higher power to keep me on the right path. Her beauty commands attention wherever she goes. Her charming smile wipes away any feelings of self-doubt. My whole attitude changes just from being in her presence. Her wisdom and grace demands my obedience. She causes the planets and stars to align. She makes my water taste just like my wine. When I'm in her presence, her body just extremely glows. It warms my body from head to my toes. She touched me and I began to heal. All the pain in my body I could no longer feel. Her skin is flawless and her spirit is so pure. Her diet must be heavy with fruits and vegetables for sure. Her wisdom causes the planets and stars to align. When she touched me, I began to heal. When you look into her eyes, you see her soul and it touches you and you understand that you are in the presence of the divine. Her children, they have the perfect teacher. Her community will not find a better teacher. She completes all that's missing in my life. And I can think of no greater joy than to make her my wife. My life now has purpose with her on my team. To ask for anything else would be simply a dream.
Woo! Brothers and sisters, you heard it from the physicists. Have you heard spoken word from the top scientists and physicists? Tonight you have. Tonight you have. Thank you so much. Brothers and sisters, if you're feeling, we've gone over 300 now. If you're feeling our brother, our scientist, our physicist tonight, drop down blood fire. Just drop down some blood fire, brethren. Let the brother know that he's awakened up the fire to us in backside. Blood fire tonight, brethren. Blood fire. Brat. Every single time. Brothers and sisters, this is the Hidden Truth platform. And you know what? We don't play. Brother Ron Spears, we bow to you, King. If you get a chance, read up some of those comments, brothers and sisters, because we want you to know the feedback that you got tonight. We had 1 or 2 people that wanted to ask you some questions. Maybe you could look at those questions and type some answers on the chat line as well, brothers, whilst the show continues. Brothers and sisters, that was Brother Ron Spears. Again, this is the Hidden Truth platform. Know that we are bringing on the best of the best of the best. Blood fire, brothers and sisters. Blood fire. All right, brothers and sisters, as you know, we are